Good evening and welcome to Iana's Boxing Universe. This evening I have the wonderful Darren Aston. He was so good I brought him back. Uh, Not sure I can afford his fee, but we'll worry about that in the future. Bag of crisps. I don't know what actually, yeah, what will be your go-to thing now? Was it craft beer you were drinking today?
Today, I've been at work today. No beer today.
Oh,
Have a few little beers of a weekend and that. So you can send me over a bit of Irish stout or something.
yeah, absolutely. Well, the next time I'm over there, I'll definitely bring you something. Anyway, Sam's in
Lovely.
already. Yes, guys, how are we? Well, I'm not concussed, which is wonderful, you know. And sure, Darren's Darren, so that's all wonderful. Anyway, Darren, speaking of concussion, we're going to look at last weekend's matchroom card, uh, headlined by Dalton Smith. So, as I was semi-concussed and I was only awake for one fight, I'm going to let you kind of tell me how that card went and what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good card. I mean, the main show started with you know what? I've gone blank now. What was the it weren't Campbell. Well, I'll go on to Campbell
Yeah, we'll
Hatton
talk about
first.
Campbell Hatton's fight because I saw that. So,
Yeah,
what did you?
Campbell Hatton was a really good fight. I actually did predict that Flint would beat Campbell Hatton on points. I don't know if it's on your show or another show, but I thought it was a very good fight. I actually probably had it closer than what the judges did. I thought the scorecards were a little bit wide, but
Really?
I did, yeah, I personally did. I thought some of the rounds Flint wasn't doing quite enough. I thought Campbell Hatton was the aggressor, and Flint was sort of like willing to soak a bit up and then use his work. But you know, fair enough winner. I did predict it, but I thought Campbell Hatton, hats off to him, did also show a bit of steel to keep going. He took some
Yeah,
good shots,
I'm
and
skipping a
he did.
few comments because I'm going to come back to them afterward. But just Sam's jumped in with he had it 97, 93, which is about where I had it, you know?
I probably had it a bit closer than that. Like I said, I think at times Flint um, didn't work hard enough in some of the rounds. I thought he was happy to like soak a little bit up and then use his boxing. But I thought he was a fair enough winner, but I had it a bit
Yeah,
closer.
but
But I think
like,
big credit has to go to Campbell Hatton as well for, he
well,
showed a
in
bit of need in
fairness,
the fight.
and it's one thing I have to say for a guy that's not, he hasn't boxed at any real level at amateur, and he's kind of thrown in the deep end. He was put
Yeah,
far too high on that pay-per-view, and exploitation by certain people. And you wouldn't have to watch the Hatton documentary to know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Because I
yeah.
would say Ricky is pushing his son a bit too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there is that argument. I would say I don't think he's going to go too much further. It's very early
No,
days
he
in his
really
career.
isn't. And
Yeah,
fair dues to him, and I have to say fair dues to him for sticking to the end. I mean, if a kind
yeah.
of if a guy wanted to quit, he could have easily just took a knee at any point in that fight
I
and just
agree. Yeah, I agree.
bailed,
Well,
but he didn't, and that's in fairness to Campbell. I mean, I want to give
yeah,
Campbell his due here as well, because, okay, uh, you know, that fight where the Spanish lad, I think he was Spanish, was robbed of the win against Campbell. I mean, that
was
soured
that at
so many people.
Spurs? Was that on the undercard of Usyk
Yeah, it
Joshua?
was. It
Yeah,
was. It was. It was. It,
yeah,
it was the Tottenham Hotspur one, and I think that really turned a lot of people against Campbell Hatton because it was like, is he just going to get to decisions? And the simple
yeah,
fact is, Campbell should have been learning his trade on smaller shows away from the limelight of the media. But two people were pushing him front and center, and for me, that was Eddie Hearn, his promoter, and that's his job, and
yeah,
his
yeah,
job is to make money. And the other, I felt was his father. You know,
yeah.
but having seen the documentary about how Ricky's father used him as a cash machine effectively,
Mm.
I can see Ricky's kind of behavior and how that kind of sees through. It's, to quote Whitney Houston, it's not right, but it's okay. I'm not giving Ricky a buy, but I'm saying I can understand his behavior based on his father's behavior. But I hope now, well, I mean, I just think Campbell's just not going to go as far even as Ricky anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully it won't be exploited. But I did find Matthew Hatton very good trainer, and I think he gave Campbell good instruction about what to do. But the boys here are talking about a rematch. Sam's just put it in there. I think Flint wins a rematch if they do it again. And
yeah, I thought I would favour him. Yeah,
and Hakan has too, but I don't know if that's something Campbell's team are going to go after.
The
and
thing is though, where does he go though? Like, does he? He can't really sort of like drop down a level because
he can. He can.
But like he's
he
the appealing that's going to be there with that to put him on. Will he go back to before the bell or something like that?
Well, I don't think he'll go to before the bell, but I can see what will happen is they'll kind of get lesser opponents and hype them up to be more than they are. They'll find guys with positive records. Where they got them, nobody knows, but they'll stick them up against Campbell. Or maybe, Eddie will say, okay, this isn't going to work out, because we all know Eddie seems to have taken his eye off of the national, the scene in the UK. He's got his bigger fish to fry now. The American market seems to be where he's landed and where he wants to be. And this was the first decent matchroom card in the UK for a while.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought the card was a brilliant card, and then after that you had. I'm trying to think of the order when it was Troy Williamson.
Sam just told us who started off. Nick Leaves.
That's the one. Nick Leavers, weren't it? Versus Merg.
Nick Leavers, kicked it off.
That was a brilliant fight. That was a fantastic fight. That was. They both went toe to toe.
Yeah, I watched that fight. That was. I think that was. Yeah, that was the first.
That was the one before Campbell Hatton. That was for an opening main card fight. That was a fantastic fight and a brilliant win as well for him.
And good display for him, and as well, I mean, on that card, good for Nick to get that out. And what did you make then of? We'll jump to the main event. What did you make of that?
Dalton Smith and Zepeda. Yeah. I actually had it quite even up till the stoppage. I thought Zepeda was the aggressor in the fight. I think Dalton Smith did okay. But he got an absolute brilliant body shot in, and that was the road to victory. But I thought
it really was. It was a great shot. Now, not having watched the fight, but obviously I've watched that, and it was an excellent body shot. And I mean, people don't realize how sickening those shots are when you get punched in the stomach. Like, you have to remember, your stomach is where all the food is. And regardless if you haven't eaten, there's always going to be food in there unless you've had an enema 4 hours ago. You know what I mean? And you don't want to have an enema 4 hours before a fight. So there's going to be stuff in your guts. And if you get punched in the guts, it's not nice. And I've been punched in the guts and it wasn't nice. But fair play to Dalton. And where do you think that now he's got the silver title? Do you think he'll be able to challenge then for honours at top honours? Or is that a bridge too far at the moment?
I think you've got to tread careful about going up a bit too quick now. I mean, it was a brilliant win. That was a huge step up for him. And, Zepeda don't get stopped like that. And it was very, very good stoppage. But I thought up until then, the fight was pretty even. Like I said, I thought Zepeda was the aggressor in the fight. Dalton Smith, Hakan had him 3 rounds up. I say I didn't, but obviously Hakan was ringside. He might have got.
Well, he had him up after 3 rounds, is what he's saying there. He didn't say down 3 rounds up. He was up.
Oh, sorry, sorry, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, you're fine. Fine.
I thought it was pretty even. Dalton Smith was sort of on the back foot, but using the jab, doing okay. But Zepeda was the one coming forward. But I thought he was doing okay. But he found the perfect shot, and that's a brilliant victory for him. Like you say, where does he go now? I think they
Yeah.
need to tread a little bit careful. Let's not, but the Adam Azim fight for me would be the perfect fight to see, but I don't think we get to see it yet. Might be the end of the year, but I think
But
that's
even if
a
it's the end of the
good
year, I
fight.
mean, we're in March now. I mean, then there's only one
Yeah,
fight between it. You know, does he have a
yeah,
keep busy fight in August, September, and then maybe November, December fight Adam Azim? Because that would be brilliant. Because November,
yeah.
December time is peak viewing, and
Well,
Sky would
yeah.
want that.
Possibly have a keep busy fight, because the one thing you can't do is step up the levels, then fight Adam Azim for where he's at. Like, you probably need to have a keep busy fight if you're gonna
Well,
aim to
if
fight
you're
Adam
not
Azim.
fighting Azim till say November, December time, you'd
Yeah,
probably want to have another fight just to keep ticking over in
keep
the
ticking over.
interim.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously, I think Sky would want to have Azim out, you know, as well,
yeah,
because he is their cash cow.
yeah.
Otherwise, and actually, Hakan has another thing, and big up, and I want to say it as well, big up to Liam Cameron. He got on the card, he looked to get on the card, and he gave a
Good
great
stoppage.
performance,
Yeah, yeah. Good
and fair
stoppage.
dues
Yeah,
to him.
yeah. Absolutely, and it's nice to see how his career progresses from this now, and hopefully he
Yeah,
keeps getting
because
more
he's one of these,
matchroom
and
stuff.
I mean, I only know him through social media, but he's such a workhorse, and I mean, he did
Yeah,
fall foul of, um, failing drugs tests before, but unlike everyone else, who seems to get multiple buys, the book was thrown at Liam, but he's come back. I mean, everyone's entitled to redemption, and if you
yeah.
serve your time, I feel you get more respect than if you try to avoid a ban, or if you try to sidestep it, or fight in America against nobodies. But that's not aimed at anybody in particular.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope he continues to get some slots on Matchroom and that.
well, I think that
I really hope
performance
it.
will definitely afford him slots on Matchroom, or maybe even Boxer. Because my Boxer don't have a huge outlay of boxers. And I mean, he's a Midlands fighter, isn't he? So
Yeah, yeah. And you know, hats off to him, like the way he can keep getting slots on the shows. And I hope he carries on,
yeah. And Hakeem's then come back with, I think we all knew this. Matchroom told him Boxer don't want Smith fight for Azim. Well, yeah, they
We
don't
were,
want it
yeah,
just yet, you know.
yeah.
But I'd say Christmas time could be, or maybe next May, but I think that's pushing it a bit too far. But if Adam Azim is as good as he say he is, he shouldn't fear Dalton Smith,
No,
you know.
no.
But I
If
don't
I was
think it's
gonna,
Team Azim. I think it's Team Sky, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I think Boxer, in all honesty, are the problem with it. I think Eddie would, easily take the fight for Dalton Smith, but if I was going to pick a winner of that fight now, I still, because Adam Azim hasn't had that ultimate. I'm not saying Dalton Smith's had the ultimate test now in Zapata, but it's a big step up to what
It is a big step up.
Adam Azim's fought as well. So we don't know where. Are they looking to put Adam Azim in with someone like a Zapata next to see what happens before he goes Dalton Smith? That might be the route they go down.
Mm. It
Never know.
certainly would. But anything else then you want to comment on that card before we move to the
Well,
predictions?
I was going to say about Terry Harper against
Oh yes, Terry and Sandy.
yeah, it's Terry Harper and Sandy.
I think that was kind of a passing of the baton, really, kind of a fight.
Yeah, I don't really like to say, like, when I'm disappointed in fighters. I mean, Terry Harper actually follows me on social media. I follow her, obviously. I don't want us to say any of this, but I actually tweeted this. For me, she didn't look like she had a lot left in
But
the
that was the
ring.
point, and I think I mean,
Um,
and as an Irishman and a big fan of Katie Taylor, I see something similar in the future for Katie. And I thought it might have even happened with Chantel Cameron, but Katie
yeah,
came back. But there will be a point at which Katie will have to pass the baton on to the younger fighters, and
mm.
and I think it's good that there are younger female fighters coming along and filling the shoes perfectly of Terry, and hopefully, well,
Sandy
Cameron
Ryan's,
definitely
Sandy
can
Ryan's
stand
actually.
alone against.
Go on, sorry, what was you going to say? Sorry.
That there is the next generation of female fighters coming along, because Terry and Katie, they're at the end of their career now.
Yeah, it's a strange one though, because they're at the end of their career, but Sandy Ryan's actually older than Terry Harper.
Yeah, but she hasn't the boxing life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Katie Taylor is a young enough woman, but she's been boxing her whole life. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So you have to kind of allow for that. That boxing just takes it out of you. You know,
yeah,
all sports does. So if you've had a long career in the sport, you're not going to be as sprightly as someone that has a much shorter career. But
yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Hackham's a big follower of women's boxing. Sandy Ryan is the best performance I've seen for a very long time. Would you put that over Chantel Cameron's first performance against Katie Taylor? Because I thought that was brilliant.
Uh, Different caliber though. I think.
Terry
I
Harper
can.
moves down to lightweight.
Yeah, maybe that's what she does. She's definitely got to change something because for me, after 2, 3 rounds, she looked like she accepted defeat.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant work by the corner. They've done the right thing to pull her out, but she sort of accepted defeat for me quite early on. She took quite a few big shots, and I just think that the acceptance come quite early, and she didn't look like she had a lot left to me. And I was disappointed, but I like to see the way she was on social media after the better girl won, and she's very professional like that, Terry Harper, and I do like her. But yeah, maybe that's the next move, like Hakan says. But I think like that's the last sort of like see what happens at lightweight, and
Or,
then
or,
go
or
from
is it
that.
the case that Terry kind of hangs up the gloves, perhaps?
From what I read of her statement, I don't think she will. But looking
Yeah,
at
but
her, whether
boxers
it's just the
never retire, you know?
yeah, but looking at the weight, whether it's the weight or whatever, looking at that fight as a fan, she looked like she didn't have a lot left to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that seemed to
Mm.
be a consensus now. So, I mean, I'd agree with you on that. So, will we move on to the um, upcoming fights then?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, the fight I'm really looking forward to actually isn't available in Ireland. It's Tim Zoo's fight. So,
Oh,
what
okay.
what do you make of that?
Personally, because of the name, I wanted to see Keith Berman. That's the
Yeah,
fight I wanted. I know he's a bit. I know he's what some can say he's past it and been out the ring for. He had a decent stretch out the ring, but I don't know. I'm not. It's an all. I think it's a decent fight, but the height difference is ridiculous, isn't it?
it is. But I mean, like, it will be very much chopping down that tree. Fundora, like, he's 21-1.
Yeah.
Tim is 24-0 with 17 KOs, which is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
So
This is a good, definitely a good test for him.
yeah, I mean, everything I've seen of Tim Zoo, I like. He's a great style. He's a great fan friendly style, like his dad
I
did.
agree. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and Australia love him. You know, and
Yeah.
they really need a next superstar, and I really think it could be Tim Zoo. You know.
Yeah. It's a decent fight, and the way they are, the head to head reminds me a bit of Nick Ball versus Ray Vargas the other week.
Yeah, but not to talk. Well, we can because we're just predicting. But obviously, the fight after that, if Tim wins, is Terence Crawford. I would
Oh,
love Tim Tszyu versus Terence Crawford. I think that's going to be Terence Crawford's biggest test since
really?
Spence, and Spence didn't prove to be a test in the end. But I
Yeah.
think Tim will be a different animal in the fact he's younger, and he'll have more combative style. You know.
You rate Tissue then, didn't you? You rate him?
I really do, genuinely. I mean, you can look at my receipts from the other channel, but I was always a Tim Zhu fan. What I see of him, I like, and to come out of his father's shadow. I mean, we've seen this with all the other boxers. It's bloody difficult, but Tim has
Yeah.
passed with flying colours every test that's
Do you think
thrown
he's had a
his
strong
way.
enough test yet, though? Do you think he's had a strong enough test yet?
But I mean, like he's done everything. I mean, and the amount of
Yeah, yeah.
times, like he had to wait for Charlo to kind of vacate that title in the end. But he waited and waited and fought non-mandatory fights, waiting while he was the mandatory for Charlo. And Charlo then just didn't want any of it because we all know what the result would be, in my opinion. I think Tim Zhu would make mincemeat of Charlotte, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, he is right. PBC is on Thriller pay-per-view in the UK, but not in the Irish Republic. So for me, I do not have legal access to that fight, but I will watch it. That's all I'm saying. But
I was going to say, you'll definitely be watching that one, won't you?
Oh yeah, we have ways and means. Funnily enough, I watch the majority stuff legally now, just because I just happen to have the subs or whatever. But if it's not there, I'll find a way to watch it. I mean, the Japanese boxing, like that. That last card I watched, oh my god, that was brilliant. That card, that Inoue's brother fought on. I mean, it was brilliant.
What was that
fight.
on? What channel was that on? What channel was that on?
It was on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
Sky didn't pick it up, but they
I
are
was going to
picking
say
up.
Sky didn't pick that up.
I was surprised too, and I was kind of hinting at it all week, and I was hoping somebody would, but it wasn't just me. But no, they didn't. But they are picking up Inoue's fight on the May Day bank holiday, which is the 6th of May. So that's Monday the 6th of May. It'll be around lunchtime on Monday. So I'd recommend anyone to watch that, because Sky brought out their card, and we'll actually go through those fights as well, and kind of you can let me know which one was your which one. Obviously, like there's one really obvious one sticking out there, which is the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk on May 18th.
If we get it. If we get it, if it
happens.
happens.
If we get it, but that's the whole point. I mean, but Tyson, to his credit, is looking a lot fitter and better shape now than he was prior to his accident.
Yeah.
If he was buying time, I think he did the right thing, and it might give us a better fight. But I'm still hung on that decision. It'll either be a Tyson stoppage or Usyk will win on points. There's going to be no other option. I think
it'll be close points either way. I do.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
I do.
If it goes the whole way to points, I think Usyk is likely to take it, unless of course he's been dropped a few times by Fury. But I think if Usyk's dropped by Fury, I don't think he'll be getting up. Because we've seen Usyk with body shots and he doesn't like them.
No, he doesn't. I know that.
Fury's going to target that.
I agree with that.
But Valdez and against Liam Wilson is this Saturday.
Do you know what though? Like for me, this Saturday, I do honestly think the card at the O2 is really, really good and solid.
Sunday,
sorry.
No. That's Saturday's fights in the US, and then Sunday, Easter Sunday, which
that's it. Yeah.
I mean, I won tickets to this, and I can't go because it's Easter frickin' Sunday.
Have you raffled them off?
What?
You raffled your tickets off?
No, I gave them to my cousin.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, he takes care of me, like, so. I mean, it's money in the bank, as the fella says, without charging for them.
Yeah.
But and he'll enjoy it. Him and his friend, they'll enjoy it. I don't like, if I get something for nothing, I don't like then, charging for it. And besides, it's strictly speaking, it's my ticket, so I didn't want to start raffling off anything that was in my name. But with Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, who have you got for that one?
I personally think Wardley stops him.
Yes.
But I think we're looking at Wardley has been the aggressor in all his fights so far. But it's Fraser Clark's amateur experience that makes me think, can he pull off a points win? And I think it's going to be a Wardley stoppage, but I've got a little bit of that. If Clark wins, he'll win on points because of the amateur experience. But I still think Wardley's going to tie him up at some point somewhere and let his shots go. And I think he's going to catch Clark. And we don't really know how well Fraser Clark takes a shot.
Yeah. Now, what I've seen of Fraser Clark, the fights I've seen of Fraser Clark, I wasn't impressed by him at all. I felt he's been too long in the amateur game. He got a bronze Olympic medal. Okay. But you're an amateur boxer. and the pro game is very different, especially at the top weight. You know,
Yeah,
nobody wins on points at heavyweight. You know,
yeah.
it's
And what I
largely by
don't
stoppage.
what I don't understand is the preparation for Fabio Wardley, Marius Fack, and Dave Allen. Like none of them really replicate a Fabio Wardley. They're sort of like guys that can take a shot
But
and can give you rounds.
but maybe they're just the guys that they're promoting. You know, I'm sure they've got plenty of amateur, young, heavy amateurs in there as well.
Mm.
They're just
But
not names. You know,
yeah,
like I wouldn't say that's been Wardley's only sparring partners, and if it was, it'd be very foolish in my opinion. But I'd say if you got a few young, heavyweights, you know, who have been in and around the amateur setup, they would be perfect sparring partners
mm.
for Wardley to face Clark.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like Clark's 2 fights before this, Dave Allen, Marius Fack. Like I don't really get the mentality of why he went down that route and then fights Fabio Wardley. I just thought like
Well, I think they were basically boxed into a corner to fight Wardley, weren't they?
it sounded like Clark wanted it a few fights ago, but you know these promotional team
Yeah,
didn't
Clark
allow
wanted
it.
it, but Boxer absolutely didn't because they knew what the result was going to be, you
Mm.
know. So
Do you think Fabio Wardley stops him?
yes, yes. Between 6 and 9 was what I said, and Hakan
Hakan's
is
gone 8.
coming in, and he's been more definite. He said round 8, which falls within my prediction, but
Mm.
I'm being broad. He's saying bang round 8. But I mean, I can see it ending as early as round 6 and could even be earlier, you know.
Well,
But
but the thing is, that's Fraser Clark pretty much. Surely he's done then, really.
pretty much. But to me, Fraser hasn't shown anything at the pro game to say, well,
Yeah,
he's going to
he
make
lacks
it,
power.
you know. So there's no point in kind of wasting anyone's time, you know.
Yeah,
This is for the British title, isn't it? Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't win the British title, then no.
British and Commonwealth.
Yeah, well, the Commonwealth is like the European. It's something you go for if you don't win a proper title. But
Yeah,
to me, the British title holds more cash.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's far more valuable. I mean, the European. If you swerve the British and fight for the European, that tells me you don't want to fight who the British holder is. Or
yeah,
same with the Commonwealth. If you, I mean, those belts are largely vacant. You know, because they're kind of secondary belts. The British belt is kind of, to me, that's a belt on the way you're going somewhere. You know,
yeah.
and
I
and
agree. Yeah,
anytime I've seen a British fight, and I've said this when I was on Joel's channel as well, I always like the fights for the British title because they're always very competitive because they're usually two young guys, and the guy that wins is the guy that's going to spur on to the next level.
yeah. Have you seen about the rematch clause? Fabio Wardley's the one with the rematch clause. Fraser Clark, I don't think he's got one. It's Fabio Wardley with a rematch clause. Which
I wouldn't worry too much about rematch clauses. I don't think Fabio Wardley's going to need it, but I'm willing to eat my words. You know, if Clark somehow manages to win, I will eat
yeah.
my words and say if
I think if he wins Clark, he'll win on points. I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way he wins really on
yeah,
points.
but
Clark.
I can't see him, you know, going the whole way, you know, 12 rounds. No,
Because he'll.
someone's got to go, and I think it is going to be Clark.
Yeah.
But so what was your prediction on that fight?
If I was going to be picking a prediction and a bet on it, I'd probably go Fabio Wardley 6-8, the same, something like that.
Okay, so we're all pretty much in the same ballpark. And
Yeah, I
then
think
the other
Fraser will
fights
give
that are
him
on
some
that.
rounds. I think he will.
Sorry?
I think Fraser will give him a decent amount of rounds because of his pedigree and his experience. I
Yeah,
think he will
oh
give him
yeah.
the round.
And I think Wardley will just turn up the gas after round 6 and look to get him out.
Yeah.
But we look at the other fights on that. This is going to be a fun fight, Marku versus Congo.
Yeah, I like that fight. I think Marku will be the come forward man in that fight. Congo will look to probably box more. I I'd probably fancy Florian Marku in that. Would you?
Probably. I mean, he is the cash cow for Boxer. I mean, and
Boxer, yeah.
you know they're not going to give him anything he can't handle. So I would reckon he's going to get his opponent out of there.
Yeah.
Now here's one I think's fairly even: Vidal Riley versus Mikhail Lawal.
Yeah, good fight. Really good fight, and I would agree. Like pretty even Stevens in that one. I wouldn't really. Who would you pick in a winner in that one?
I'm leaning for Lawal. I'm not sure why, but I just am.
I was going to say probably just lean towards Riley, but
But that's how close it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm saying Lawal, but I've no conviction. I wouldn't put a bet on it. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not. I wouldn't be putting a bet on that one.
Yeah.
That for me, that's probably the 50-50 fight on the card. They're all like, Marku Kongo could probably be close. But as regards 50-50s, I'd look on the card. I'd probably go Riley and Lawal.
Yeah, I think that will be the closest fight, in my opinion. But then again, we could see a first round knockout. Anyway, and then speaking of one-sided, Ben Whitaker against Leon Willings.
Yeah.
It looks like they found a Willings opponent.
Yeah, we'll see Ben Whitaker doing the old Matrix and that again, which I like. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I like it.
No, what I don't like about it
is
you're fighting journeymen. So, cop on. Like, if he was doing that against, British title holders or world title holders, I'd understand, But when you're fighting journeymen who are just there to give you experience, don't act the bollocks. We all know what's going to happen, as Nessa said in Gavin and Stacey, so let's just do it and get on with it. But, play acting and acting the bollocks in front of a journeyman doesn't impress anybody. Well, it doesn't impress me. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but it didn't impress me much,
He did do it against some decent amateurs though, like Felix Cash and people like that. He did it in the amateurs.
I'm not talking about his. But number one, you're not allowed to do that in the amateurs. It's strictly against the rules. As a former amateur referee, I would have pulled him up on that so quickly. You know what I mean? You just cannot do that. You must respect your opponent at all times. Fine, the pro game is different and it's about all of that. But that comes later. It doesn't come when you're gaining pro experience against just fighters that are paid to get in there and give you a few rounds. You're not impressing anyone. But that's just my opinion.
No, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like I agree. Some are for it, some aren't. I was going to say another fun fight I think on that card is Steve Robinson versus Alan Babbage.
Yes, actually, it is.
It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be technical. But they are just going to both come out swinging the bombs, and absolutely. I don't know if it's going to last that long. To be honest,
it'll be like two lads after closing time. But
that's what it is. It's going to be like a pub brawl. I mean, how long it lasts is another story as well, because I'm not sure it's going to last that long with the way they come out both swinging. And I don't think both of them will take a shot well either.
No, they don't. Robinson has proven not to be very good at taking a punch. And
Babbage the same.
It will
an interesting fight.
So definitely a first round stoppage, but for whom?
You know what? I'd probably give it 2 or 3 rounds. I think you got to probably fancy Babbage for where he's been at a bit of a higher level. I mean, he got found out last time, but he's fought slightly better opponents than Steve Robinson. So I'd probably go Alan Babbage about 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But you never know, because Robinson can punch and they both just throw wild and someone's going to land at some point. Could be a pick 'em, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we're back on to Saturday morning, but Valdez and Wilson, have we covered that? I don't think we have.
I think you did mention. I think I rudely interrupted you.
Sorry, no, you're sorry. But anyway, so what way do you see that?
To be honest, I haven't really. I didn't even know that fight was happening.
And it's on Sky Sports Action as well.
Oh, is it on? Oh, okay. Did you? I think you might have tweeted that. Might have seen that on there earlier.
Well, it was on the Sky Sports picture, so it was one of the fights.
Yeah. How do you see that one going?
I think Valdez will win it. I mean, it's kind of just, am I going for the home fighter? Probably yes. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of
I can
it's
see
put on
that.
the plate for him to win, and he needs to perform well and give a good performance. So yeah, I'm going to go with Valdez.
And that was just like, and then
Um,
after, then you got Jared Anderson in a few weeks as well.
Hakan has said Estrada versus Valle is the fight he's looking forward to in Glendale. Yeah, that's the
That's on the same card, isn't it?
that's the women's fight on that card.
Yeah.
And that probably will be a more competitive fight,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I find with women's boxing, because there's less women fighting than men, you oftenly get better matchups. So definitely it could steal fight of the show on that.
Yeah.
Hakan, who have you got?
He'll answer you. He loves the women's boxing, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, just we've got a shout out now from YouTube, or not YouTube. What's it called? That TikTok celebrity, Dan Morley. Keep it up, fellas. Cheers, Dan. I actually saw Dan fight in Wembley Arena before I knew who he was. But Dan has a great TikTok, and he's brilliant, and he explains boxing so well to the young people out there, and he's showing them great fights, and he's giving them great clips. And Dan's going back for another stint in the program, so best of luck, Dan. And I hope it goes really well for you, because the fight I saw you win was a great action fight. So you're definitely a fan favorite and easy to watch one. So best wishes with that, Dan. But Hakan, have you told us who Estrada? Oh, here it is. Estrada on a close decision who he's gone for. So there you go. Hakan knows his women's boxing inside out. So if you're wondering who to put on your ACA for that, Estrada seems to be where Hakan is going. And if Hakan goes that way, well, I'm just going to go that way too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's it then. I think we'll leave it there. But yeah, I think there's great boxing to look forward to. Like, I think that card on Sunday, Easter Sunday, is going to be fun. First of all, we're going to have Arsenal hopefully beating Manchester City in Manchester to cement their title credentials. And then we're going to enjoy some great boxing in the evening from London.
Absolutely. And it's, I know what you've said to me before about the Sunday and the transport and things like that, and the cost of hotels and things, and I've seen quite a few people saying that, but I actually quite like that it's on a Sunday. I think it's all right.
Well, for a television viewer, Sunday is perfect.
Yeah.
But in terms of getting to that Sunday, Easter Sunday just proved impossible for me.
Yeah, I'm away for like the weekend, so I come back Sunday. For me to have got there would have been a nightmare, but like, it's just a lot for me to go to London, stop over, transport, and like, obviously it's worse on a Sunday, especially an Easter Sunday. So
yeah,
I'd have no chance.
But like you said, it's a great one for the TV.
Absolutely, I'll be putting my feet up watching it, and I'm doing a
exactly.
live.
I mean, hopefully I'll be stuffed full. I'll be in a diabetic coma after all my Easter eggs, and I'll just be in a joyous bliss after an Arsenal win. But I will take a draw. I will take a draw. I'm saying that right now.
Yeah,
if we draw in the Etihad, I will be very happy. But I mean, that'll be 4 points out of 6 against City if we do.
Yeah, you're in with a good shout this year, I'd say.
Oh, but Man City just
don't fluff it at the last bit again.
Well, it didn't. I mean, Saliba got injured. We've a very good first 11, but there's no depth after that. Like Man City, you've got fucking billions they can just throw up in the subs bench. It's quite different for every other team. But and Aston Villa, are they going to get that European Cup spot?
I think we'll finish top 6, but I don't think we'll finish top 4.
But if Arsenal or Manchester City win the European Cup, and if Liverpool win the Europa League, and if you guys yourselves win the Euro, you're in the Conference League, aren't you?
Conference League, yeah.
If you win all that, the coefficient might be in your favour.
Yeah, we've had a brilliant season.
Yeah.
Better first half of the season than the second, but you
Yeah,
can't knock overall what we've done.
Not to be a spoiler alert, but that's very much the manager's style. You know, he starts well, but then it begins to
He's
crumble
very
a little
much
bit.
He's very much a manager that he can motivate a team, and he
But
motivates
I mean,
the
that's why
team
he's a
well.
good cup manager. You know,
Yeah,
he can get people up for cup matches. You know, but every
yeah,
league match gets tough, and I know away seems, but I mean, winning at home. I mean, if you're just winning all those matches at home, hey, that'll definitely get you a top 6 spot.
yeah.
Good man,
I can
Hackham. Come
support
on,
him.
you Gunners. Well, I like him even more. I always knew there was something I liked about him, and now I know what it is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, Darren. Best of luck.
I was just
Enjoy,
saying, this is
enjoy your
boxing
Easter
channel, not.
Sunday. I hopefully will have a great Easter Sunday full of chocolate,
Yeah.
Arsenal, and top class boxing from London. And yeah, take it handy. Slán agus Bannacht agus Dana Cosca Banachina Cosca dit, which means happy Easter. Slán.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Bye bye.